Hello there. So do you plan to do some gardening this year but you don't have any idea of when you should start planting or what growing zone you even live in? So in this video, I'll show you how you can easily figure out the growing zone you live in and when you should start planting your crops. So if you would like to find out more about this, keep watching. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Zumi, and on this channel I share about my life in Canada as an immigrant, container gardening tutorials, recipe remixes using Nigerian and Canadian ingredients, self-development tips, and so much more. So if this kind of content appeals to you, kindly consider clicking the subscribe button so that you can receive notifications when I upload new videos each week. So if you live in Canada or any country that experiences winter, your target as a gardener should be to plant your crops early enough that you get all your harvests before the first frost of winter comes in. But then at the same time, you want to make sure that you are not planting it too early, that the coldness of the spring kills the young plants that you are growing. So this situation creates a necessity for you to figure out which growing zone or hardiness zone that you live in. What is hardiness zone or growing zone or planting zone all about? So planting zone or hardiness zone just gives you information about how cold winters get in the area that you live in, and this information will help you also to figure out which kind of plants grow or survive in that area so that you'll be able to plan your planting season very well and get success as a gardener. Another important thing you need to know as a cold climate gardener is that plants come as either annuals, biennials, or perennials. And this simply refers to the life cycle of each plant. So annuals take 1 year. Within the range of 1 year, you can plant them, they will germinate, they will grow and bear fruit, and then they will die back. So it all happens within 1 year. But biennials need 2 years and perennials take 3 or more years. So that's why you cannot plant things like maybe mangoes and pears or some kind of fruits or trees basically in Canada, because maybe they don't belong in the Canadian hardiness zone because they cannot endure the winter. But when you plant things like apple trees or whatever, lots of trees that grow in Canada belong in this hardiness zone, and so they can stay during winter, they will die back, but once spring comes, they will come back to life. So that is another important information. So you can't just wake up and say, okay, I want to go and plant orange tree or whichever tree. You have to figure out. Most home gardeners prefer to grow annuals, and they do it with lots of success. So popular annuals among home gardeners include tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, carrots, and all those things. So these kind of plants, you can grow them within 1 year and get your harvest within 1 year. So once you have these two pieces of information, that is the hardiness or growing zone you live in and the life cycle of the plants you want to grow, or more or less the number of days that your plants need to be able to germinate and grow to the point of harvest, then you've basically set the foundation of your success as a home gardener. If you've never tried gardening before, well, everything I'm saying might be sounding strange and complex to you, but I want you to know that it is not that difficult, and I'm going to show you step by step how to figure out your growing zone or your hardiness zone, as well as when you can start planting, and also information on how many days your plants need to be able to reach a point of harvest on time before the cold comes in. So for me, I live in the Barrie area of Ontario, Canada. So for me to find my hardiness zone, I'll simply type in hardiness zone, Barrie, Ontario. And as you can see here already, I see it right here. It says I'm in zone 5B. Can we see that? Okay. So if I want to still go down and confirm, I can just check any of the other links there. So this one gives me the option of selecting it based my city based on alphabets. So I'll just go to B. And right here, we can see Barrie. I don't know if you can see that. And it says Barrie used to be in zone 5A. in the area during from 1961 to 1990. But right now it is in 5B, so that confirms it. So let's assume that you live in the US. So let's say Hardiness zone, Owosso, Michigan. Just select. Oh, I didn't even see that. You can see just right here, it says 6A. Can we see that? So wherever you live in, you can basically type in hardiness zone, your city, and you can easily figure out where you fall under. Now that I've found out what planting zone I fall under, the next thing I'm going to do is to type in when to start planting in zone 5B. And I'm going to do just that. Okay, it's right here. When to start planting in zone 5B. And let's look at this one. So let's see, this says vegetable planting calendar guide. And looking at this, you can see that it's like a pictorial guide that shows you when to start planting indoors and when you can expect to, it says here, start seeds indoors, plant your seed or transplant. So this one, starting in seeds indoors, are for seeds that need longer time to germinate and be ready for harvest before it becomes cold. So this one says here, plant seed or transplant. So there are some plants that you can actually plant outside directly and they will still have enough time for you to harvest them before the winter comes. So this pictorial guide is very helpful. So for example, beans, you can start planting beans in May. You don't need to plant it indoors. You can start planting beans in May, and around September you can expect to start harvesting. So let's assume you want to plant a cucumber. You can actually start planting cucumber right here in May too, and then by September you can expect to start harvesting cucumbers. And let's say, okay, you want to do carrots. You can actually plant carrots from April. And I think you can plant again. From what they're saying here, is like you can plant carrots 2 times within one season. You can plant it from April to June, and then as in by June you're already harvesting, and then you can plant carrots again in August, and by middle of October you're already harvesting. So this guide will be helpful. So if you remember, I mentioned that when you are gardening, you have to plant your plants early enough to be able to get your harvest, but not too early for your plants to die. So this same information is here for zone 5. It says here, zone 5 has medium length growing season. Most vegetable varieties will have no problem maturing before your first frost date, which is when the first signs of snow begin to come in. So it says with a last frost date of May 15th. So that last frost date means the last snow you're going to see. Right now we're in winter, so when you are going to expect the last snowfall thereabout is May 15th. And then the first frost date, which is at the beginning of the new winter season, will be from October 15th. You can start expecting maybe snow to fall lightly and all that. And it says here that these dates will vary a week or two. So it's important for you to watch the weather before planting. So even if you say, okay, May 15th is the last frost date, you don't just go outside and say, yay, let me go and start planting. I actually did that last year, and some of my peppers didn't survive it. They started, as in the wind was still so cold, although it didn't snow, but it was so cold that some of my peppers died, and I had to go and start buying seedlings. This second planting calendar is also nice, and I'm going to put a link for that in the description box below. As you can see, this one is not in form of pictures. It actually tells you specific dates for planting, starting seeds indoors, or whether you should plant outside directly and all that. So for example, this one says basil. It says March 19th to April 2nd you can start planting. Okay, so here it says if you want to plant the seedlings, you don't want to start indoors, but you want to plant seedlings, or you want to transplant the seedlings you bought, you can actually start transplanting outside, but from May 14th to June 4. Okay. Then same thing here for bell peppers. It says March from March 4th to March 19th, you can start planting it indoors. And then when by May 21 to June 4th, you can plant outside. So I generally encourage new gardeners to buy seedlings instead of seeds. So when you buy seedlings from your local garden centers like Walmart Garden Center, Canadian Tires, or maybe family-owned garden centers around you, when you buy seedlings from them, they already know the best time to start planting those seeds. So they plant it ahead of time. Like right now, all those garden centers, some of them have started planting the seeds that need to be planted by this time. So all you need to do when it's time for you to start planting outside, let's say, is it in the month of May or month of April, whatever your own planting zone requires, you just go there, buy the seedlings that are already at the level they need to be. You understand? They're already beating the cold weather. And you just buy it and transplant into your pot. So if you are starting from seedling, you don't need to start checking, when can I start my seeds? Am I starting this one in March? Am I starting this in April? All you need to do is you check your last frost date, and then you gauge the weather, give it a week or two, and then you transplant whatever you've bought outside into your container garden, and you are good to go. But if you are an old-time gardener, or you don't mind it, then you want to start from seed, then you can definitely use the planting calendars that we've looked at. Find out a planting calendar that works for your own zone, and experiment with whatever plants that you want to grow for yourself this year. So I hope you found this video helpful. Container gardening is pretty much straightforward. If there's any difficulty, I would say that this is basically the most difficult aspect of it. But with the information that I have shared with you, it should be easy for you to figure out your planting zone and when to start planting if you are starting from seeds. And if you're not starting from seeds, it's even much easier for you. Once you find out your last frost date, then you are good to go. You just go ahead and buy seedlings, and when it's time, you transplant it. So in case you have any questions based on what we've talked about in this video, please feel free to leave me a comment or ask that question in the comment section below, and I'll be more than glad to answer those questions as much as I possibly can. So I do hope you are still sticking with me on this container gardening journey. I hope you're not getting cold feet because of the law, all the protocol involved. So I'd like to hear from you. Based on everything we've talked about, do you think you're going to be starting your plants from seeds this year, or are you going to buy seedlings from your local garden center? Kindly leave me a comment in the comment section so that I will know what your plans are. So I'm also going to be documenting my container gardening journey this year, right from what I'm going to be planting, how I'm going to set up my container garden, and the kind of soil I use, and how I'm able to manage pests if any arise, and all that and all that. So if you are interested in following on this journey and learning new things that you can also apply, and you've not yet subscribed, kindly consider subscribing so that you can receive updates whenever I upload new videos, because I upload new videos each week. Thank you once again for sticking with me to the end of this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.